thanks for joining me today. This workshop is going to be a blend of guided visualization, breathwork, hatha yoga, and painting, all focused on balance. And this is designed for the fall equinox or anytime you need some lunar energy in your life, because we're going to be using the moon as a guide today. And before we get going, I just wanted to bring up a couple of things to contemplate as we move through these practices. First, I picked the moon for today because it has all these clear phases and it moves in this cycle. And so it's the movement that causes the balance. It's not always full, it's not always half. It moves in this continuous cycle. And that's how our lives are. And just like when you're riding a bicycle, it's the movement and the turning of your wheels that keeps you upright. And the equinox is a day where the light and the dark are roughly the same amount of time. And so it's a really good time to contemplate the tension and balance between all the opposing forces in your life, whether it's light and dark, rest and activity. There's all these pushes and pulls, and it's the dance between them that keeps us in harmony. And another thing to consider during this time of year is as the leaves turn, a lot of the myths deal with a descent into the underworld, because the earth is slowly, we have the harvest, and then earth is slowly going to sleep or dying. And so it's a great time to think about your relationship to the unknown. And what does your own underworld look like for you, and how do you feel about it? And it's very normal as humans to fear the unknown and to fear the future, but it's a wonderful practice to be able to look at the unknown or the future with an attitude of curiosity and of imagination rather than fear. So that a lot of these practices, they get into our visual, imaginative mind. And I think that's so important in being able to create a better experience for ourselves in general, no matter what's going on out in the world. So those are a couple things. And when we get to the yoga part, everyone's balance is different day to day. We're going to be doing a lot of balancing poses. Just have patience with yourself and listen to your own body. And if you fall out of a pose and can't hold it, just use your breath to recenter yourself and restabilize and then move on. And so in that way, the yoga practice can mirror our lives and give us just this very safe spot to practice regaining balance, when life knocks us off our feet. So we'll start with the meditation, and then we'll do the yoga, and then we'll close with the painting. So thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you enjoy.
This meditation is designed to balance your breath, body, and mind, harness stabilizing lunar energy, and discover an intention to carry you through the transitional fall season. We will use the imagery of the moon as our guide and master example of balance. Begin by sitting or laying down comfortably on the floor or in a chair. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breathing. Inhale deeply through your nose and notice your lungs expand. Then exhale gently through your nose. Inhale again, feeling your chest and abdomen expand. And exhale gently through your nose. Now inhale even more deeply through your nose, sensing the breath fill your lungs, abdomen, all the way down into your hips. And gently exhale. Continue breathing in and out through your nose, deepening and lengthening each breath without straining. spacious center, imagining your breath as a soft, soothing light. Each breath creates more clarity, more space, and more relaxation. Bring awareness to your heart as you breathe, thanking it for the careful, balancing work it does to flood your body with fresh oxygen. Each heartbeat brings harmony to your cells, along with each breath. Balance is created through the cyclic movement, just like the changing phases of the moon. Now imagine you are sitting outside at dusk. You are safe and warm in the fresh air that is fragrant with the earthy scent of turning leaves, and the promise of rain is carried in on a crisp but gentle breeze. As the sky fades to deep indigo, stars begin to appear through scattered clouds, and a thin crescent moon rises above the trees. You feel the hopeful sense of a new beginning and the potential of a new season as you admire its elegant arc. As the moon rises higher in the sky, it slowly expands, becoming bigger and brighter with each breath. It is a quarter moon now, and you are filled with curiosity and wonder at what this new cycle holds. It continues to rise and expand into a half moon, and you feel anticipation and energy building. Still higher and brighter it rises, until you're gazing at a 3/4 moon full of momentum, full of light. Directly overhead and expands into its full form, bright and luminous. You bask in its radiance, feeling gratitude for its light and fullness. As you gaze up at this full moon, you hear a single word carried on the nighttime breeze. This word symbolizes your intention for this fall season. You trust that this word is a gift from your highest self to help you evolve, and to remind you that you are a priceless being on a unique and beautiful journey. waves through a forest. Where trees stretch high overhead. Then it winds through a meadow. Slowly turns into sand dunes, leading down to the ocean. As you walk, you notice the full moon slowly waning and descending in the sky. From 3/4 to half, its shape is slowly enveloped in the dark night. You marvel at each beautiful phase it passes through, knowing they each have their valuable place in the cycle. You step down onto the sandy beach and see the moon change slowly from half to a quarter and all the way to a thin crescent shining above the ocean. You breathe in the salty air, and as you exhale, the small sliver of moon disappears into the inky sky, leaving you clear, relaxed, and at peace. Slowly open your eyes, remember your intention, and feel gratitude to yourself for taking the time to make this inner connection. Now we're going to move on to the yoga portion of our workshop. We'll be doing 45 minutes of slow flow hatha yoga. So go ahead and get on your mat, and throughout the practice, if you need to stop and take a break, you can rest in child's pose or pause the video. Just do what feels comfortable and listen to your body. And begin by taking a comfortable seat at the front of your mat, and we will begin. So close your eyes and bring your hands to your heart, remembering the intention that you just discovered in your meditation. You'll want to keep that as a focus throughout this practice. Begin to deepen your breath. We're going to start by doing alternate nostril breathing. So take your thumb and your ring finger and plug your right nostril while you inhale through your left nostril. Plug both. Now exhale through your right nostril. Inhale again through your right nostril. And exhale through your left nostril. So we'll be going back and forth for a few minutes like this. Inhale through your left. Hold it. And exhale through your right. Inhale through your right nostril. Hold it at the top. Exhale through your left. Inhale through your left. Hold it. Now exhale through your right. Inhale through your right. And exhale through your left. Inhale through your left. Hold it at the top. Exhale through your right. Inhale through your right. Hold it. Exhale through your left. Inhale through your left. Hold it. Exhale through your right. Inhale through your right. Exhale through your left. Inhale through your left. Exhale through your right. Inhale through your right. Exhale through your left. Inhale through your left. Exhale through your right. Inhale through your right. Exhale through your left. Take a deep breath through both. Release your hands. Relax your shoulders. And inhale, raise your arms overhead. Exhale, drop your left arm onto the mat and reach your right arm across. Get a long stretch in your torso. Inhale, return both arms up. And drop your right hand, reaching your left arm high overhead. Breathing into your torso. Inhale, reach both arms up. Clasp your hands and push them outward. Stretch your wrists. Slowly come forward, as if someone's pulling your hands. Return your arms to the sky. Now cross in the other direction with your other pinky on top. Stretch your arms forward. Now reach your arms to the sky, continuing your deep breaths. Drop your hands to the mat. Lean your head to the right and put your right hand, rest it gently on top of your head, and lift your left hand. Just put a little more weight onto that next stretch. Now gently rest your left hand on top of your head and let your head fall to the left. Now release both hands and come onto all fours on your mat with your hands under your shoulders and knees under your hips. We'll do some cat-cow breathing. So inhale, lift your eyes and your hips. Exhale, draw your belly in. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your eyes. Exhale. Clench your abdomen. Draw everything in. Inhale. Lift your hips and your eyes. Exhale. Squeeze your belly upward. Inhale. Look up. Hips up. Exhale. Squeeze your belly in. Inhale. Eyes up. Hips up. Exhale. Squeeze it all in. Inhale. Lift your eyes. Exhale. Come back to a neutral spine. Stretch your right leg out behind you. And stretch your left arm in front of you. Engage all the muscles in your legs and arms. And on your exhale, pull your elbow into your knee. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, stretch your arm and your foot out. Exhale, elbow to knee. Now switching sides, stretch your left leg back and up and your right arm forward. On your next exhale, bring your elbow into your knee. And inhale, stretch them back out. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, stretch it out. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, drop your hands back to the mat. Tuck your toes under now and sit back on your heels. Give our feet a stretch. Clasp your hands behind you and stretch them back, looking up. Continue your deep breaths. Release that and bring your arms out to the side and cross your right arm over your left, coming into eagle arms. Give our shoulders a stretch. Come up off your knees, or come up off your heels. Now sit back on your heels, stretch your arms out, and cross your left arm over your right arm. Relax any place that feels tense in your shoulders. Breathe into it. Now come forward onto your hands and knees. Shake your feet out. You can tap them on the mat or bring them together. Now spread your knees a little bit and come into child's pose. You can gently move your hips side to side. Just bring a little bit of movement into your hips. Continue breathing deeply. Now look forward, tuck your toes, and stretch back into your first downward dog. You can bicycle your legs, bending one knee, then the other. Continue breathing deeply in your down dog. Bicycle your legs a little more. We're going to stretch our right leg up. Bend your knee to open your hip. Bring it back down to the mat. Now stretch your left leg up. Open your hip, bend your knee. Now bring your foot back down. Lift your right leg up again and bring your foot forward up to your hands and come up into crescent pose or high lunge. Engage the muscles of your back foot. You can slightly arch your back and look up if it feels comfortable to you. Drop your hands to your sides and slowly twist open toward the right, using your inner core muscles. Return to the front. Drop your hands to the mat. Come back into plank pose. Lower slowly all the way to the mat. And peel your chest up for a low cobra. Now inhale and press back up to plank. And lift your hips back into downward dog. Second side, lift your left foot in the air. Step it up between your hands. Now raise your arms up toward the sky into a high lunge. Breathing deeply, slightly arch your back if you'd like. Make sure that your back leg is engaged. Now bring your hands out to your sides and twist open to the left. Continuing your deep breaths. Return your hands overhead. Now drop them to the mat and lower down into chaturanga. Lift into upward dog. Now lift your hips into downward facing dog. Look to the front of your mat and step your feet up. Create a flat back. Fold forward. Inhale, raise your arms all the way up and bring your hands to your heart. Inhale, raise your arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Now inhale, look up, flat back. Exhale, step back into plank. Lower into chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg and step it up between your hands. Again, coming into crescent pose. And bend your back knee to tilt your hips forward. Now bring your hands to your heart and cross your left elbow over your right knee for a nice twist in your spine. Return to the center, drop your hands to the mat, lower into chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg and step it up between your hands for a lunge on the other side. Bend your right knee, tilt your hips forward. Bring your hands to your heart and cross your right elbow over your left knee, using it to pull your spine into a nice twist. Return your hands to the mat, plank, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Now look to the front of your mat and step or hop your feet to your hands. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, raise your arms all the way up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale, raise your arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look forward, the flat back. Exhale, step back into plank pose. Lower into chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg and step it up between your hands, dropping your back heel down. Come up into warrior one. Now open your legs into warrior two. Your front heel should line up with the middle of your back foot. Engage the muscles of your left leg. Now drop your left hand and reach your right hand overhead, reverse warrior. Clasp your hands behind your back and bend your head toward your knee, humble warrior. Inhale. Exhale. Drop your hands to your mat and bring your back heel up. Open your right arm toward the sky and twist open toward the right. Now bring your right hand on the inside of your right foot. Come into lizard pose. You can set your back knee down if that's more comfortable. Breathe into your hips. Step back into plank pose. Lower into chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left foot and step it up between your hands. Drop your back heel and come up into warrior one, the arms overhead. Turn your back heel and open into warrior two. So your front heel lines up with the middle of your back foot. Look forward over your left fingertips. Drop your right arm down and reach your left arm overhead. Reverse warrior. Clasp your hands behind your back. Fold forward, letting your head drop toward your knee. Feeling a nice stretch in your shoulders. Now bring your hands to the mat and lift your left arm towards the sky, twisting open toward the left, with your right hand still flat on the mat. Now drop your hand to the inside of your left foot. You can scoot your left foot over toward the edge of your mat. Come into lizard pose. Maintain your deep, smooth, even breaths as you concentrate on relaxing, releasing tension and your hips while engaging your right leg. Step back into plank pose, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now look to the front of your mat, hop between your hands, come up with a flat back, and fold forward. Inhale, raise your arms all the way up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale, raise your arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up with a flat back halfway. Step back into plank pose, holding there for a moment. Now roll over to the pinky toe side of your right foot and lift your left arm in the air for a side plank. You can look up if it feels okay on your neck, or return your hand to the mat and twist open toward the other side, rolling onto the pinky toe side of your left foot, raising your right arm into the air. Return your hand to the mat and lower into chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your right foot and bring it up between your hands. Come up into warrior two. Drop your left hand, raise your right arm, and straighten your front leg, preparing for triangle pose. Now stretch your arm forward and let it fall to the mat, to your leg, wherever it wants to go, and lift your left arm. Now circle your left hand forward and around in a big circle. As you inhale, exhale, bring it down. Now you can rest it on your hip or bring it around to your leg. Now look forward and put your hand about a foot in front of your right foot, lifting your left leg to half moon pose. Stretch your left arm up toward the sky. And once you feel balanced, you can bring your right hand to your heart. Now slowly square your hips and bring your hands to your heart into warrior three. Engaging your left leg. Now slowly step back into warrior two. Circle your arms down to the mat. Lower into chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Now lift your left leg and step it up between your hands. Come up into warrior two. Now drop your left or your right hand and straighten your left leg. Reach forward with your left hand and then drop it down to your leg or the mat and stretch your right arm overhead, triangle pose. Now bring your right arm overhead and circle it down and around, making big circles. Exhale down. Inhale forward. Exhale, bring it around. You can set it on your hip or loop it around to find your other leg. Now look down to the front of your mat, bend your leg, and set your left arm down. Lift up your right leg and your right hand. Half moon pose. You can look down at the ground. And once you feel stable, you can lift up your left arm and touch your heart. Now slowly square your hips and bring both hands to your heart. Warrior 3. Find a single point to focus on. Now slowly lower back into Warrior 2. And circle your arms down, coming into plank, then chaturanga, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe deeply here. Good work. Now look forward and step or hop to the front of your mat. Come up halfway with a flat spine. Now raise your arms all the way up overhead and bring them to your heart. Raise your hands overhead, and as you exhale, lift your right knee and bring your hands to your heart. Set your foot back down. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, lift your left knee and drop your hands to your heart. Now set your foot down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lift your right knee and set it back down. Inhale, raise your arms. Exhale, lift your left knee and set it back down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lift your left knee. Now step back so you're facing the long side of your mat. Bring your arms to a T. And now bring your arms straight up in cactus arms and bend your legs. And stretch your arms overhead. Bend. Now stretch your arms back. Inhale, bend your knees and your arms. Exhale, stretch overhead. Inhale, bend your knees and your arms and hold it there. Now go up on your left toes. Bring it down. Now go up on your right toe. Left toes, right toes. Inhale, left toes arch. Exhale, right toes arch. Now come up with your arms up overhead. And bring your hands down to your sides. Clasp your hands behind you. Fold forward, lifting your hands up toward the sky. Drop your hands. You can fold your arms and just let your head hang. Let your back stretch out. Gently rock side to side. You can shake your head no and yes. Make sure your neck is nice and loose. Now grab a hold of your left foot with your right hand and stretch your left hand up toward the sky. Walk your hands over to the other side, grabbing your right foot with your left hand, stretching your right arm up toward the sky as you twist your spine, continue your deep breaths. Return both hands to the mat and bring your hands to your hips and come up with a flat back. Bring your arms to a T and hop your feet together and come back to the front of your mat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up with a flat back. Exhale, step back into plank. Lower slowly all the way to your mat. Clasp your hands behind your back and lift your chest up off the mat and lift your feet up, engaging and waking up the whole back of your body. Now release and rest your head on your mat. Now stretch both arms forward and lift your chest and your arms and legs up off the mat. Now release. You can rest one ear on the mat. Now bring your hands to the mat and come back into child's pose. You've done a lot of good movement and work today. We're going to begin cooling down. Now come forward to a seated position and stretch your feet out in front of you. With a flat spine, sit up straight as you can. Raise your arms overhead and fold forward, holding onto your feet or your legs. Now bend your right knee. Stretch your arms up and fold over your left leg. Grabbing your leg or your foot. Trying to bring your chest towards your knee. Now come back up and bring your left elbow over your right knee and twist open to the right, looking over your left shoulder. Return to center. Bend your left knee. Raise your arms and fold over your right leg. Now put your left foot flat on the mat. Raise your right arm, bring your right elbow over your left knee, and twist open, looking back over your left shoulder. Return to the front, stretch both legs out. Now tilt back, bringing your hands behind you, and lift your feet up into boat pose. You can stretch your arms forward. We're going to slowly come down to our backs. Lay all the way down. Now bend your right leg, grab a hold of your right shin, and circle your ankle in one direction and then the other. And now bring your right ankle over your left knee and reach through to grab a hold of your left shin for thread the needle pose. Breathe into your hips. Continue breathing, sending energy into all of the places that feel tense in your body. Now release your leg and hold on to your left knee. Circle your ankle in one direction, then another. Now cross your left ankle over your right knee and reach through to grab a hold of your right leg. Continue breathing in and out through your nose. Sending relaxation into your hips. Release your feet to the mat, with your knees bent, and lift your hips into bridge pose. You can clasp your hands behind your back. Be sure the back of your neck is long. Now lower slowly back down onto the mat. And you can rest with your feet together, knees apart. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Bring your knees together. And stretch your left leg out and bring your right knee to your chest. And then twist it over toward the left and look over your right shoulder. Now return flat on your back, and now bring your left knee into your chest and twist it over to the right, stretching your arms out and looking back over your left shoulder. Now bring both knees to your chest for one final squeeze. Now stretch your legs out. Let your feet flop open. Rest your hands, palms up, on the mat next to you. Close your eyes. Allow your whole body to sink into the floor. Relax your ankles, your feet. Feel your legs grow heavy and sink into the mat. Let your hips relax. Your abdomen. Release all control over your breath and just let it come in and out, nice and easy. Let your wrists, your shoulders relax. Let your chest, your neck, all the muscles of your face, let them grow heavy and relax. Quiet mind, quiet body. Now begin to move your ankles and your wrists. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretch your arms all the way up overhead. Long stretch. Roll over to your right side and pause for a moment to feel gratitude to yourself for taking this time to practice. Come to a comfortable seated position. May we see clearly, speak the truth with love, and live with hearts full of gratitude. Namaste. We're going to begin our intention painting now, and I'm going to start with my little sketch I printed out, and I'm going to quickly transfer it to the canvas. And an easy way to do this is to flip the paper over and grab a piece of soft charcoal. And just lightly scribble it all over where there's going to be lines on the back of this page you can see it through. Use whatever surface you have handy. You can paint or color directly on the paper depending on what you have. And this is just a very rough sketch, so we have something to start with instead of a blank canvas. I know that's kind of intimidating for many people, including myself. But these lines are just meant to be a very loose guide. And I want this to be intuitive, so feel free to just totally disregard this part. But after you flip the paper back over, you trace over each line with a pencil, and it'll transfer that charcoal onto the back. So now that we have our little sketch, if you did any of the spring or summer workshops with me, you know that we take the intention that we discovered in the meditation and we use it to infuse this painting. we write the word that we found down all over the canvas, and along with any other words that you feel are applicable or that you want to, whose energy you want to bring into this. The whole point of this painting is just to bring some energy and creativity using all our senses behind our intention. So my intention that I found in the meditation is wonder, which I was really excited about because it's been a depressing few months, really easy to slip into kind of despair unless I can manage to view things with a sense of wonder and curiosity, kind of like we talked about before. So I'm just writing wonder all over the canvas. I'm going to add a few other bonus words. So write your word. You can write it in pen, you can write it in pencil, just so it's there and so you can focus on it as you paint. And this can be a very intuitive thing, so please feel free to use whatever colors you want, whatever feels good to you. It's just about the process of adding paint onto paper, canvas, while focusing on your intention. I'm a big believer in the magic of creativity in painting, because a lot of energy and focus goes into creating a piece of art, and so I like to combine that with intention. So I'm going to take my colors now. I just have this normal student grade acrylic in phthalo blue. I'm going to make a few piles of paint for myself. I'm gonna take some burnt sienna, which is one of my favorite colors. It's that nice rusty orange. I also have a white and some crimson red and yellow ochre. You'll want to have a jar of water and a surface that you don't mind getting splattered. I'm just going to be kind of talking through this as I paint, so please feel free to mute me and turn on some music that you love during this part. I have brushes of various sizes. I'm taking a medium one and just going over, I'm outlining my cloud shapes so I don't lose my lines. I'm using just straight burnt sienna for those lines. I'm taking a little bit of blue and outlining the moon. Just really lightly. My brush is really dry right now. Just want to make sure I have my basic shapes in. Now I'm going to get a bigger brush. I'm just going to start laying blue, just straight phthalo blue into the sky. If you want your paint to flow better, you just get your brush a little bit more wet and it'll be nice and smooth, a little more transparent. And I really like using acrylic because you can make it really thick like oil paints, or you can water it down and it looks like watercolor. But I've mixed some burnt sienna with my phthalo blue, and that is what's giving me that really dark blue that I want in my sky. I usually just start out with piles of paint, and they all get mixed together by the end. I'm painting the sides of my canvas too right now, just because I know I won't if I don't do it now. So feel free if you have a canvas to paint the sides or not. If you decide to frame it, you won't need them painted. Don't worry so much about what it looks like. We're just focused on getting paint on the canvas right now, making sure the white parts are covered, and just enjoying the motion. Remember to breathe and just enjoy this time that you get to play with paint. There's no pressure. It doesn't have to look any particular way. It's always a little nerve-wracking for me to do these videos because I really like to have pretty detailed drawings, and I like to know what my painting's gonna look like. So this is a really good exercise for me in just letting go and letting the painting happen. I'm scrubbing this brush just back and forth, just trying to make sure all my canvas is covered. I think I'll add a little bit of white parts to the sky. Mix a little bit of white in with my pile of dark blue. As soon as I'm done rubbing this around. I like to paint on my intention word too as I go. It ends up getting covered, but just a nice way to keep focused on that word. So now I'm just adding some white into my pile of blue and burnt sienna. It's making this cloudy gray color. When I paint clouds, I just like to do layers and layers of swirled paint, so this one's just straight blue and white with whatever's left on my brush from before. I want a dark corner of this cloud, so I'm just adding straight phthalo blue in that corner. few parts onto the sky. I have this blurry reference photo, which is a mashup of two different photos that I found online. I'm roughly basing these shapes and like the shading on, so I'll include that with this workshop packet so you can feel free to reference that. I'm adding red into the blue now to make these purpley areas. So now when I add white onto it, it's going to be a nice little pinkish lavender color. It's probably kind of hard to see with the glare. It's really hard to video and photograph sky paintings that are of the nighttime. I've never had much success with that, but hope you can see it well enough and that you are just focused on making your own lovely paintings. So let's just give you ideas along the way. I'm just scrubbing in a little bit more purple onto my light parts. So clouds are really fun because you can pretty much make them any color, especially at nighttime with the moon shining on clouds. There's a lot of, like in the reference photo, the clouds are very pink. Adding a little bit of purple to the top corner of my sky, my patch of sky. I mix a little bit of white into my patch of dark blue so that I can get some lighter areas in the sky. Add a little bit more blue to my palette of a slightly different shade. I'm gonna brush that all over the sky to deepen it up. I'm still using the same brush that I started with. I'd recommend using a pretty big brush if you have a hard time, if you're a perfectionist and you want everything to be really precise all the time. It's a good opportunity to just kind of let go of some of that and relax and just focus on the actual process instead of the look by using a bigger brush than you would usually go for. Adding a little bit of white into my pile of dark blue again, so I can have a little bit of a hazy light around the moon. I decided to do a crescent moon because I don't think I've really ever painted one before, and I wanted to try it out. But you can make it a full moon or whatever phase of moon you are connecting with right now. Now I'm taking a kind of big dry brush and I'm just swirling it around to blend a couple of my areas. Just adding more light parts, swirling it around with my bigger brush. See if you can see it so far if I tilt it so it's not got all the glare on it. I'm gonna grab a big brush again and just start adding some more colors into the clouds. I think I want to try making them a peachy color, so I'm gonna mix the red with the yellow ochre and some white and see what happens when I add that. I'm just gonna add it all along the edges. The idea is just to make the outer edges of the clouds that are closest to the moon brighter and lighter than the rest of them, so it looks like the moon is kind of shining on them. I think it's kind of funny that this painting is becoming so blue and pink because I was just telling someone the other day how That's not one of my favorite color combinations. But oddly enough, that's what I'm drawn to for this right now. Getting a smaller brush now and just adding some lighter areas. Mix some white into my pink pile. It's gonna add more lightness on the edge closest to the moon. Put a little more yellow in my pile because I wanted it to be a little more peachy than pink. Adding a little more yellowy orange to the tops of these clouds. Scrub it around. I'm adding some more light pink to the edges again. Take a deep breath while you're painting. I often forget to breathe, and it is a good thing to do while you are doing creative work. It makes it feel more fun, less stressful. If you can just release a little bit of tension. Just continuing to swirl the light, which is still slightly wet, into the darker underpainting now. Adding more patches of pink. It's my bigger brush. I'm just gently swirling the edges so they don't look so harsh. Trying to make them a little bit wispy. Acrylic paint dries really fast though, so if you're trying to blend something and it's not moving, that's why. You can also add a little bit of water onto your paintbrush. I'm going to add paint onto my moon. Just a little bit of my light pink, just so I have it covered. I'll probably go over it again with white in a little bit. Again, adding white to the edges of the clouds by the moon. Cloud painting is just a lot of building up layers. Running out of clean brushes now, so I'm grabbing one of my brushes from the jar and adding some dark blue into some parts of the clouds. Building up some dark areas so that the light parts will be even brighter looking. Added some purple into my blue pile, some red to make purple, and just scrubbing that in now. Adding more purple onto the other side, corners. Cleaning off another one of my brushes now. I think I want to add a little bit of red into the clouds. See what happens. Just mixed up some more pink. Gonna try to brighten things up even more. I hope you all are having fun. It'll be nice when I can do these workshops in person again. Now I'm taking a blend with a lot more red in it. See what happens with that. I hope you're experimenting and having fun with different colors. Colors have all sorts of visual and emotional impacts on you depending on the setting. So I have a little color symbol chart that I'll include in the workshop materials. In case you want to try to use them symbolically and this painting is turning into an interesting blend of contrasts. Because when I think of the moon, I think of this very soothing, serene thing, but I have these wild red clouds now that they're almost kind of reminding me of the like fiery clouds, probably because we've been in this cloud of smoke for the last 2 weeks up here in Washington. In general, warmer colors, they're like very energetic. They have more energy. They stimulate your appetite. They stimulate your blood pressure. And then the cooler colors like blues and greens, they have the opposite effect. They're more calming. Adding a little more white to the corners of the clouds again. You should know the drill by now. I have a brush now with purple on one side and white on the other side. So I'm just gonna add little touches, white and purple. that I'm looking at this, I'm starting to see a face in the edge of this cloud bank. Looks like a profile. It's always fun to find shapes in your clouds after you paint them. Just deciding what else I can do to this. I think I'm going to add a little bit more white onto my palette. Gonna do the moon now, so it's as bright as possible. It's my smaller brush. Trick I learned one time about painting moons, if you don't have a drawing, you can just paint the edge of a paper cup or something that's the right size for your moon. And for a full moon, just paint the whole edge. For a crescent, just paint part of it, and you just stamp it onto your painting. It's a good way to get a circle on there. I think I'm about ready to call this, and I feel free to work as long as you want on your painting, and I would love to see them when you are done. So I really enjoyed creating this workshop with you, and I hope you had a wonderful time and have a lovely week and a wonderful fall season.